Good afternoon. Welcome to Abbey Road Studio One. We are here live, simulcasting online on BBC Introducing and right here in Abbey Road. And we are in conversation with the one and only Mr. Tinchy Stryder. Make some noise, people, please. Now, Tinch, I could come to you first, but let's be honest, everybody knows who you are.
Okay.
So I feel we need to introduce the other people that are on the stage with us.
Yes.
For a start, this gentleman here. What's your name?
My name is Jack Foster.
Jack Foster.
One half of Tinchy's management.
Ah.
Yeah.
Takeover Entertainment.
Indeed.
But you're young, so you're a bit too young to be an artist manager.
Or not. I don't know.
How did you get started?
Me and my partner Archie started promoting club nights in Norwich about aged 16. We met Tinchy when we were 18 and just went from there, really. Signed him to it. We actually tried to set up an independent label.
Okay.
And signed him to it, put out Star in the Hood, which did okay. We started the clothing line, and then we started managing him after that.
So you went literally from putting on club nights to managing a guy who became the biggest selling male artist in the UK last year?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Well, we'll come to you in a bit. I want to get some more stories from you and hopefully get a little bit from your experience of going literally as a 16-year-old to now being a bit of a music mogul in your own right.
Trying.
We'll start over this side. Dirty Danger.
It's the Dirty Danger. It's me, man.
Representing the Rough Squad.
Yeah, I'm representing Rough Squad, man. Tinchy's right-hand man, you know. Been in the game for a long time, man. Seen it all.
So what was it that got you involved in music at the very start?
It was just seeing the older lot do it, like, because we was from the same areas like Dizzy and Wiley. Seeing them lot doing it, it made us feel like, yeah, we can do the same thing. So that's what got us into doing music straight away.
And what is it that you do as part of Rough Squad?
I'm a producer and I also MC myself.
Okay, so you've got some experiences that hopefully you can share with the people here and watching on the stream.
100%, man.
Nice,
Definitely.
nice. Now, to your right is a man who his mum knows as Darren, but everybody else knows as DJ Target.
She's even started calling me Target now.
Has she?
It's getting bad, yeah.
Target from Roll Deep and BBC Radio 1 Extra.
That is me.
Brother, man, you pretty much do everything, don't you? You produce.
I try. I spread myself quite thin, yeah. DJ.
How did you get started?
Just as a hobby. Like Dirty Danger said, we're all from the same area, Bowen, East London, so there was never much to do around there. So it kind of came to the point where you was either going to go and start kind of doing mischievous stuff and get yourself in trouble, or we had this kind of interest in music. I grew up with the likes of Wiley and a lot of other artists from the area. And he had a pair of decks, and I used to go, and he was mixing, and one day he taught me how to mix, like you just do this, and you kind of get into it. I thought, oh, this is kind of fun. And it just spawned from there. It was a hobby, then we got into pirate radio, and then get into the studio producing, and start learning the business, and things just kind of have just spiraled. I haven't really had the time since we started to kind of sit down and go over everything, but it's just gone mad since we were kind of like more or less kids.
Since Roll Deep was Pay As You Go?
Yeah. There was Pay As You Go, Cartel. Then that kind of fizzled out, and some of us who were kind of like a core set of friends who all grew up together formed Roll Deep. And Roll Deep were kind of one of the biggest things in this whole kind of early grime movement. Dizzy was a former member. Tinchy used to come and MC with us a lot. We used to do radio together a lot. And it was a pretty big thing where we were from, and kind of the grime scene just started to form from that, and the rest is kind of history. Everyone's just kind of smashing it at the moment, but it's been a long, hard road.
Yeah, and last year you obviously made a breakthrough Roll Deep wise with the chart.
Yeah, that was just...
A couple of number ones, you know?
Yeah, after all this time as well, because Roll Deep's kind of been going for probably 8-9 years. And to be fair, last year when everything kind of kicked off, we wasn't really expecting it. We were kind of in an in-between period, I like to call it, where we wasn't out in the mainstream. We wasn't really doing loads on the underground. We were just in the studio, just doing loads of new music, and we came up with this track, Good Times. Yeah. Virgin Records heard it, they signed it, promoted it, went on the road, and that went to #1, and that was like a amazing achievement. We couldn't believe it. And then the next single came out, and that went to #1 as well. So last year was like, without doubt, for all of us, I can speak for the other guys as well, it was like the pinnacle of our careers. Hopefully this year will be even better and we'll continue to grow. But yeah, last year was mad, getting the 2 #1s.
Well, we're going to get some more from you in a bit. Obviously, it's about Mr. Stryder today. So find out about how, when you first met this guy, what it was that made you want to take him to the radio station with you and let him spit with the Roll Deep crew.
Yeah.
And then last but no means least, Mr. Benjamin Scarr.
You saying, Jam?
I'm good. What is it that you do? Because arguably, you're probably the most important person on this panel right here.
I'm Tinchy's A&R, and there's a lot of things that go under that, but in short, yeah, I'm his A&R. We do music together and just...
What's A&R? For anybody who's... it's one of those phrases that we kind of know what it is within the music business, but it's one of the questions that I'm always asked, what is A&R?
A&R, it stands for Artists and Repertoire, which basically means you look after the artists and you look after all of their catalogue of music and everything that goes along with it. So from putting together the recorded music to the live music to everything in between, basically.
But the first time that I met you, you weren't an A&R.
Nah, I wasn't. When was the first time I met you, Jam?
You were still on radio.
Oh yeah, I was on Deja.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like a long road from even to get onto Deja. That felt like a proper achievement. Even before that, I probably started getting into music, just messing about, making little beats when I was just like 15 years old with my cousins and stuff like that. And then went on to study that at college. I did music production and sound engineering at college. And then from there, it was just a bit like, I wanted to do anything to just be around music. It wasn't about earning money or nothing like that. I just wanted to be around it. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to work in music. So I kind of left college and I stayed on teaching some classes at college, like teaching a bit of DJing, teaching like basic music production. And I was a runner at the Dairy Studios in Brixton. So I just used to go down there and basically wash up and make cups of tea, but they sometimes would let me go in the studio and just watch what people were doing, and I would get to like chat to some of the engineers and got to meet a lot of people down there. And I was also working at a club night called the Jump Off, which was like a big hip hop event at the time, and I just started out there flyering on the street team. I just stayed behind at the event one evening. I said, can I just help you out? And I remember the interview was like, they just asked me who's my favourite rapper at the time. And then if I said the right thing, they was like, yeah, okay, cool.
You can join the crew.
You can join the gang. So that was it. Yeah, did the Jump Off thing, and then just started to decide I wanted to get into a label. I met a cameraman that used to work at the Jump Off. After like a year, this was of like sending my CV to labels and just getting nothing. I just eventually met this cameraman, and he knew somebody that worked at Universal, and I sent my CV to that person, and they'd already heard of the Jump Off that I was working at, so they were kind of familiar with what I was doing, and that was it. I started there in 2006 for what was meant to be like a 1 month work experience placement in the marketing department, and it's been 5 years and I'm still there. So.
And what kind of projects have you worked on in those 5 years at Island?
Well, I started in marketing, so I was just kind of, I was an assistant, so I wasn't doing anything that important.
You were making the tea again?
Yeah, I was back to making tea. By this time now, my tea is proper.
You're going to make everyone here a cup of tea?
I'm telling you, my tea is serious. I'll challenge anyone to make a better cup of tea. So yeah, no, I was just like booking bikes and doing all little bits and pieces. But you know, you get to see, working in the marketing department, all the different sides of the label. So because marketing is quite central, so you know, got to see what the press team did, the radio team did, got to see what the online team did, and then yeah, the A&R team was kind of like, it just looked the most fun. Like they was just always just dealing with music, and it just kind of seemed like something that I wanted to investigate. But I didn't go into the record label thinking I want to be an A&R. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know all the different parts of a record label at all. So I kind of fell into it because I started to see how much money they were spending on remixes, and I was thinking, what? They're spending like more money than I would earn in 3 months on one remix. I was thinking that's crazy, and so I just used to just get a few of my mates to just do little remixes, and I'd just like drop it into one of the A&R guys, like, oh, do you want to just have a listen to that? And then eventually one of them was like, oh, this is quite good, like, how much do you want for it? Like 500 quid? And I was thinking, oh my God, my mate's gonna be like thinking I'm God when I tell him I'm getting 500 quid for this remix. And yeah, that was how I kind of got on the radar of the A&R people, and my boss now, who's Darkest, he kind of took me under his wing, and he was making the Amy Winehouse album at the time, and so I just used to roll with him. We just everywhere, go to all the meetings, go to the studio, and just be like a fly on the wall. I didn't used to not say one word. I'd just be watching and just taking everything in. And yeah, that's it. I think every everybody who kind of makes something in life, they've always been given an opportunity. So it's just about taking that opportunity, you know.
And working to get that opportunity.
And just working hard and making sure that you're prepared when the opportunity comes around to take it. So.
And then finally on the panel, the artist, the businessman, the mogul.
Yeah.
Tinchy.
What's happening?
How did you start off? What was it first of all that made you say, I'm in East London, there's all of this grime scene stuff happening around me, let me get involved with that?
Do you know what? When I first started, I guess the very first time I ever thought like I wanted to MC, that was the thing, do you know what I mean? I think there was Pay As You Go, like Target and that. We used to listen to them and think, they're from the area, they're doing this. And we listen to them every week, and then we thought, yeah, we can do this. I was outside Dirty's house, like in some park outside his house, and then we just started freestyling. And that's when I think I was maybe 12, when you're first going to secondary school, like the 6 weeks holidays, just started freestyling and then wrote my first lyrics there. I mean, and then after that, I thought, yeah, we like this. And then my brother, what it was, my older brother had turntables who he got from the older brother from him. He didn't want to, he just passed it down to him. He started like mixing in a room. I used to share a room with my brother. And then like, as he was mixing, we used to come there and then just pick up the mic and say when there's vocal songs playing, we used to MC over them and say other people's lyrics, we used to clash each other. Like he might be Wiley, I'll be Major Ace or someone, we used to clash each other, and then we thought, no, we can do this. And then from that, I started from there, started doing all of that, like youth clubs. Before I was more as a hobby, football was my thing, like music was a hobby, and then it was so much fun that we used to go youth clubs from that, done a few raves. From that, like see like Pirate Radio, like Target was saying, it was like a thing where like Ben was saying, shall I say, like it was an achievement to get on a Pirate Radio. When we got on, first time I ever went on, I guess stage, I remember Wiley brought me to Rinse FM. Rinse FM was like somewhere where Genius used to run, and somewhere where you can't go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just don't go on Rinse FM. And then, so when like, I got brought there, it was like pressure and everyone listening. So I went to school the next day, like, right, I got the tape, you and Wiley. I'm like, yeah, serious. And then I felt like I was a part of it. It was so exciting. Yeah. We started doing our own things, started making a few couple tunes, and then I guess from then, to cut it a bit short, we went from that to mix CDs. My first mix CD was called I'm Back, You Know. Yeah. And then I remember I got JME to do the front cover. He designed it for me and everything because he's good on the Mac and all of that. That's his angle. And then I guess then that's where from that I met Jack and Archie. Okay. They was putting on nights in Norwich, and then they were saying, but crazy thing about that is that they put on a night they booked, was it Skepta,
JME,
yeah, and
Cameo.
Yeah, I wasn't even booked for it. But the thing,
you just rolled.
Yeah, no, it was. One of them pulled out, and then I was on the same agency at the time or something, and then they're like, "Tink, you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah." I just rolled, and then we done that. Then I met them. They're like, "You know what? We got your mix CD, man, and we like this. You know what I mean? We like it. We want to do something." I thought when I went back to the area, I was with, like, say, Dirty, and I'm thinking, yeah, I met these guys in Norwich, and then they're like, "Where?" Yeah. And then I'm like,
because East Londoners notorious for not knowing the world outside of East London.
We thought, yeah, like Norwich, and then they want to do this, and they're like, yeah, we want to help you do something. Like, how do you know what I do? Where do you hear my music? And then when they explained, I thought they're actually fans of it, do you know what I mean? And then we had the same aims and directions. From that, it was like, you know what, they're like, yeah, Tinch, get in the studio. I started recording. My first album was Star in the Hood. Done a video, I think the first video was Breakaway. Yep. Breakaway, that was the first video of that, and then, you know, like, it felt important when your videos on Channel U, and then you walk around, I was like, yeah, I like your video, man. I'm like, yeah, that's me, man, that's me. And then it was all good. Going from there, then I started working with a few people. We done Stryder, man. Yes. When I recorded Stryder, man, it was like, this time we've put everything that we had, as in like the money that was supporting it. Star in the Hood printed out some T-shirts. Star in the Hood just used to go to a shop in, where was it? Was it Wood Green? N9 Design was called. N9. And then like printed up loads of T-shirts, sold them when I was supporting a few tours. I supported the Kano tour, Jack Penati tour, was it?
Bedouin Sound Clash.
Bedouin Sound Clash.
Yeah. Which is musically a world apart.
Yeah, a world apart from where I was coming from. And then I was thinking, there's bigger things out here, man. And then we put our last everything into that. And then Stryder, man, after I recorded that, I remember they come to me like, yeah, I think Universal Island Records are like interested in this. I'm like, yo, you're not serious. They're like, no, seriously. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, man, that's a guy there over there called Ben. He likes your stuff. I'm like, they don't understand where I'm coming from, man. This ain't for us. We do pirate radio. Yeah. We don't do.
You do pirate radio, and I think when you were 16, you went on Cameo show.
Yeah, I remember when I first went on One Extra. I think that was Richie Vivi. I think that was the first time we went on One Extra. And it was all weird because they was like, yeah, careful, you can't say this, you can't say that. I'm like,
BBC rules compared to pirate radio
like,
rules.
I thought, wow, this is real life. Like, and when
real life.
Because when you go on pirate radio, you say what you want, man. And then I'm like, nah, it's BBC, people are listening. So that was all like learning curves. And then I guess back to when I first went to Ireland and I met Ben. It's like, I felt like, say before that I sat down with a few people, they're like, yeah, we like what you're doing. Yeah, man, come back to us when you got more music. Like, that just means basically, yeah, like, don't come back. That's what it felt like at the time, you know what I mean? When you go and meet labels. And then Ben was like, I really like this. And he's been obviously showing Darkest and all of that. So they signed, and I think after Stryder, man, Take Me Back. Yeah, I went in the studio with Fraser T. Smith again, who made Stryder, man. And then after that, Take Me Back, we had a version, had Bluey Robinson on it.
Okay.
And then like, they was like, you know what, try, and I'm like, nah, I like this how it is. Like, just try, and I've let Tayo try something on it. He done it. I'm like, whoa.
I love how you drop that, yeah. Tayo try something.
Yeah, Mr. Cruz, the big man. He's there. Now, seriously, like, it was like...
The guy who's just, his last single featured Kylie Minogue.
He's featured Kylie Minogue.
Kylie Minogue featured on his record.
Featured on his record. Kylie Minogue, Tayo was telling me that when they was doing the video, say her, was it makeup, some crew alone might cost more than the whole video I've done or something. Like, I was thinking, whoa, like, you know what I mean? It's different levels, man. That's a whole different level. And then he done Take Me Back. When we released that, and then it got to number 3. And that's why I always like, have to be thankful everyone from Jack to Ben, Target, Roll Deep for them bringing me at the start. You know what I mean? Started off with Dirty, and then I guess like for Ben and Ireland for believing and giving you the chance, opportunities, like you say, you have to take them. So when I got to number 3, I thought, this ain't real. This isn't real, like, this ain't, and then it felt mad, and I'm thinking, in the UK, you're like the 3rd, like, most selling single in a week, so it was crazy feeling, and then after that, it went from then till, like, then we had number 1, with number 1, and then Never Leave You. It was a crazy year, nothing felt real, spinning so fast, man. And then, I guess one of the maddest parts was when I had a tour. Yeah. When you got, like, a sold-out tour, you come on a stage, and so many people where they're singing back your lyrics to you where you just wrote in your room. It's like what I'm meaning in my heart, like you're relating and singing it back. And then, like you're saying, from then it went to Star in the Hood, went to a clothing line. Yeah. And then to us doing a deal with Rock Nation with Jay-Z, do you know what I mean? So many different things. So you're business
partners with Jay-Z these days?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this kid who went to a club night that he wasn't even really booked for in Norwich. Met this 16-year-old kid who said, I want to manage you.
That's what's mad. They're younger than me. You know what I mean? So I was thinking, something's wrong here, man. Like, where we're coming from, like it's not even like we're small-minded, but like you're saying, we're just in East London and Bow, you're hearing this, and like, say, Dizzy, we grew up around Dizzy, and when I'm hearing stuff, I'm thinking, I remember when he got signed his first album, Boy in the Corner, to Excel, and he used to like hear his stuff on like One Extra, and I'm thinking, how'd you get that? He's like, I don't know, I just make music, man. That's what he used to say all the time. Yeah, so that's the key, man.
Well, hopefully today we can give those people who are watching at home and those people here at Abbey Road a little bit more of an insight into what they may be able to do with their music or what they may be able to do with their careers to hopefully get to your level and everybody on the stage's level. So I want to go with you, Jack. Obviously, you've gone from literally promoting your own club nights to being business partners with Jay-Z to having a massive clothing line to representing some massive artists, not just Tinchy. Mm-hmm. How did that happen? What was that journey specifically?
Hard to say. I think a lot of good timing, good luck, hard work. We started off with Tinchy with not much money, just put everything we had into it. Yeah, got turned down a lot of times by Island, other labels at the start, and then just kept plugging away, I guess. Like, we used to email Ben like every week, just with what Tinchy's been up to, keep going, eventually got the deal.
So as someone who was running that independent label, putting out that music, Tinchy's music, and you wanted to get a major to pay attention, how often did you have to pester the A&R? For a start, how did you get Ben's contact?
How did we get? No, he wasn't. He was an assistant. Yeah, so
making tea.
Did you taste one of his cups of tea and like, this guy's going places?
That was it. It was from then we knew we had to sign with him. Now, how did we get? I think we had a lawyer who put us in touch with Darkest.
Okay.
We met Darkest and we met Ben because he came and got us from the lobby.
You know what it was? It wasn't that he rang me. He rang Darkest's phone, but I picked up the phone because it was the landline and he don't pick up his phone. So I picked it up and then Yeah, I've got this artist called Tinchy Stryder. Like, he said it like I wasn't going to know who he was, obviously, because
you're thinking major label.
Yeah. I just thought Ben would be like some old man sitting in this. I thought they like had this office together, two old men like running stuff. Because when you answer the answer, it's like, this is Ben and Dark's phone. But that was how it went, I guess.
So Ben, now you are in A&R and now you are working on some massive, massive projects and you have worked on so many successful projects. For those people who are watching this at home or in this room and they're going, I've got an amazing demo CD, I've done what Tinchy did before that, I've got myself plays on Radio 1 Extra, I've got myself plays on BBC, my local BBC Introducing, but I want to take it further. Do they have to go to a major label to get that career push? And if so, or even if they don't, how would they get involved or how would they get in touch with you?
Well, like, to answer the first question, like, you obviously I work for a major label, but I've just got to be honest, like, you definitely don't need a major label to push your own music, especially like in this day and age. The man like Ed Sheeran just released an EP like 2 weeks ago and ended up #2 on iTunes, or I think did it touch #1?
It was #1 on iTunes,
for a moment, yeah, you know, and it's like, you know, with websites like TuneCore, and there's a lot of and he didn't even actually do any marketing around that. I think he did a bit of promo, but you know, the power is with the artist and is with the listener, and you know, there's a lot of people that put out music independently right now and make a good living off of it. And it's not even to say you got to have a #1 or a top 10 or a top 20 album. Like, you can just sell moderate numbers and still make a good living by cutting out the middleman. And that's just the honest truth of it. If you look at those websites and see how much it costs to put up your tunes and how much money that you're going to get back per sale, and the fact that you don't have to give any of that away apart from just the like joining fee to TuneCore or whatever it is, you will see like there's profit and money to be made. But you know,
let's say I'm an artist, I've done that,
yeah,
I've put myself out there. I'm like the people in this room. Yeah. I've got that. I've already built my fan base, or I'm building my fan base. But I do want to see if I can get into that major label, with Roll Deep. I do want to see if Virgin can come behind us and give us that clout to push us into the mainstream. How would they get your attention?
There's so many different ways, and I think every artist's story of getting a deal is probably different. I don't think that it doesn't happen by somebody just thinking, you know what, I've just made my music, I'm just going to ring the record label and we're just going to get a deal. Like, sometimes, yes, it might happen that way, but a lot of times I think people don't make one phone call. They just carry on with what they're doing and they build up their own fan base, and you know, the numbers online, whether it's on YouTube or the plays that they're getting on radio, kind of speak for themselves. And there's been a few times where like I've just called an artist and they've been so surprised and they've been like, okay, wow, and they don't think that it's real, that you're actually ringing them from a major label, and they just think like, oh, I say I'm from Ireland, and they think, like, you don't sound like you're from Ireland, the country, so like, you know what I mean?
Where's your Irish accent?
Yeah, no, it's terrible, it's terrible.
But for you, Target, being someone who has ran an independent record label, worked on, obviously you're on 1 Extra now, you were on pirate radio stations, is it important that you have to have a layer of professionalism to what you're doing for people to take you seriously?
Oh yeah, regardless of whether you're doing it at pirate level, mainstream, major record label, you've got to have that layer of professionalism from the very start. Otherwise you're going to struggle, and people in your same kind of lane or in your same field, you're going to come across people who are more professional, and the men get separated from the boys. So you kind of have to have that professionalism from the start, and carrying that through, whether it be independent, whether you're trying to get a deal, it still applies back to that. And you don't, like Ben was saying, you don't need a major label to do things for years and years. We did things literally out the back of our boots, driving around to cars where the car's almost doing a wheelie because you've got so much records in the back. And by the end of the day, those records were gone, and then you had an envelope of money. So you can do things like that. It just you have to sit down and just plan stuff out, have a good team around you, have good people around you, and you can make your own things happen, especially in today's kind of society where you've got so many different internet tools. You've got YouTube, you've got SoundCloud, you've got all these different ways of getting your music heard.
BBC Introducing uploading.
Yeah, exactly, BBC Introducing. You've got so many ways of getting heard nowadays, which a lot of those ways wasn't around. When Dizzy Rascal and Roll Deep, and even when Tinchy was first coming up, you didn't have all these things. You didn't have a Facebook. MySpace wasn't out yet. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of like the ice age of the music compared to what you've got access to now. So I feel like long as you're determined and you're ready to kind of take those knocks, like Jack was saying, you do get the knockbacks, you will get told no. You've just got to kind of persist and just keep going, man.
So, Tinchy, for you, now you're at a level in your career where everybody knows you as a recording artist.
Yeah.
You're also doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes and a lot of the business side of things. Talk to me about your business acumen at the moment. Is that important for a musician to have in the modern age?
Yeah, I think it's important, but at the same time, it has to be natural. Do you know what I mean? I never like, especially with a t-shirt and a clothing line that I've got now, it's never a thing where I felt like to start, like I want to own this or have that. Although I did used to, like, say, P. Diddy, Jay-Z, that's people who I grew up listening to and look up to and respect musically.
Even Liam Gallagher now has got his own clothing line in shops and stuff.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you have to understand where there's things, you have aims and things that you want to achieve, but I guess it's an important part, man. You have to be, like, if you're not personally business-minded, keep people around you that you trust who are business-minded, because the game and like, it's a business. Do you know what I mean? How much you love music, whether you do a certain degree as a business, and you have to understand it. So having, like, I guess something away from that, where you have to be behind it yourself and then know how everything's running, and then joining all the dots, I always say, man, because there's loads of things where, like, how like my very first album, Star in the Hood, and we started off the t-shirts just from that, but now I've got a clothing line which is in shops and everything, and we could have just
driving in, actually, I saw you on the side of a phone box.
Yeah, it's crazy. I drive past and, like,
Star in the Hood,
like,
available now.
My mum took a picture of it and then sent it to me. I'm like, wow, like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's like knowing where, like, you've come from, where you're going, and you have to understand how the business side of it is. You could, if you ain't got the right people around you, you could have just sat down and not even looked into that.
Yeah.
When opportunity comes, you know what I mean? If you don't see yourself and no one around you can see it and point it out to you, then that's when I always believe that you have to keep your circle and your team and people that say everyone here has played a part, you know what I mean, and helped everyone in each way, do you know what I mean? So I always feel like business-minded people always have to be involved, man, because...
So, all right, then, here's the £100 million question.
Yeah.
How do you assemble your team? Because everybody here on this stage has obviously played a part in your career.
Yeah.
Apart from Dirty Danger, nobody else has grown up with you. You haven't known any of these guys since you were, like, knee-high to a grasshopper.
Nah.
So how did you assemble
I'm still
your
knee-high.
team? Well, yeah, you are still knee-high,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? You're smaller.
Yeah.
How did you assemble your team? How was it? What was it about Jack that made you say, do you know what, I'm going to sign with these guys as management?
That was the key. Like, I remember when I first met Jack and Arch, and then they was like, when they first come to meet me, I think they come in suits and everything.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really
they
did.
had suits on.
Professionalism is everything.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, like, from that alone, I was thinking, like, I know you don't wear this in your day-to-day when I'm speaking, but I'm thinking at least the effort and, like you're saying, being professional about everything. And then when I sat down and spoke to them, it wasn't like someone trying to say, like, yes, we think you're this and you're the greatest, and we're going to do this and make this happen. A lot of people say that to you when you go and meet them, like, this is the plan, man, you do this. Like, nothing's that set out. If it was that set out, we would all be doing the same thing. So there was like, it's not hard. We like what you do. We feel like we can do this to a certain level. We never look past too high and then feel like, yeah, man, book some studio time, record music. You know what I mean? I'm like, but what do you like? And then when they're showing me what they like to want to listen to, what they like about me, and then we spoke about where we all can see where we're trying to get to. From that, we connected. We started like being around each other a lot more, booked a few studio sessions, recording music, and I felt like, yeah, they're right, man. Because before that, I have spoken to a few people before that, and everyone seemed all right, but it didn't feel like it was for me. It felt like I was their main thing, do you know what I mean? That was the first and the main, and then it felt like the whole focus is on us, and no matter what you hear, you get a lot of knockbacks, like Target was saying, and then you have to know how to bounce back. And the key was that I was thinking, they're younger than me, and then, like, they ain't come up or grew up how I've grew up, and at the same time, they got the same driving mentality, so that was enough for me, yeah. And like you're saying, with Dirty, we grew up together. From young, we grew up together, and like, we used to play football. Obviously, he's not as good as me at football, obviously, but from then, Dirty was more like the musical side. I like listening, right, but he was more someone who thought of like beats, and I didn't have much patience.
He was one of the people that put music onto your map.
Yeah, definitely, because my first album, Dirty, made a lot of the beats, and we'd be like, say we'll be working together, and then I ain't got patience. Like, when I used to go to his house, he's on a beat on like Fruity Loops. These days, just making beats. I'll be like, why you got time to sit down and just write lyrics, man? You know what I mean? But he's like, nah. And so from then, I thought that's different. He likes different music and put me onto some different music, which opened my mind up. And Like, and then the same thing when, like, for example, with Target Road, Wiley, when I was chilling, one day he rang my phone, Wiley rang me like, yeah, like, Tinchy's Wiley. I'm like, nah, this ain't. Then like, yeah, I'm like, because we used to just chill outside on like, outside the shops in Bowen, Devon's Road, and when he used to walk past, what we used to talk about, right, you see his trainers, see them trainers, like, see, he's got some Pradas on, like, everything, and then we'd be like, yeah, no, don't worry, man, like, we're gonna do something, and then one day he rang me, and then, like, because obviously we knew Dizzy, so he was doing stuff with Wiley, but Dizzy's unique from start, from in his music, so when he said, yeah, I heard a few things, man, I want you to come radio, studio, went to studio with him straight away. That's the first time I've probably been like in a bigger studio. We used to just stay in rooms. And then he's like, come radio with me. And like this time, like, I'm like, I got school. Like, yeah, I'm like, you know what, I forget school for a minute. And then I felt like it was weird. That, not like I'm advising him not to bunk school or anything, but it's one of the things,
and the BBC do not condone that kind of behaviour in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, definitely not.
Which camera's on? We do not condone.
I don't.
Tinchy does.
Then I went radio with Wiley now, and then from that I feel like obviously there was the older ones from the era, and like the way they was welcoming, it made you feel like, yes, man, you can do this. And then started getting raves. I used to go to raves with them, and then
I remember actually back in my promotion days, booking you to come to Nottingham and play at a rave, an under-18s rave in Nottingham. I was probably about 19 at the time.
Okay.
So you would have been 16.
Okay, yeah, that was like the under-18s. I used to like love them, because when I used to go a lot of raves with, say, everyone else, they'd be like, nah, he's not coming in, man, he's not. And then Wiley's like, nah, he's with me, he's coming in, like, yeah, but he's not. I'm like, I'm not old enough. But then we went, so you do like Sidewinders, Eskimo dance, all them raves. I felt like, whoa, it's a new day. And then all of them stages, and then like meeting Ben, and then I used to think, when you think of record label, we feel like there's a lot of people sitting down in suits. I'm thinking, how do they even know if he says that's good, does that mean it's good? Why don't we have different opinions in it? Do you know what I mean? But it felt like it run, because when you watch your TV, the people are successful, they're on big labels, and that's how it's happening. So when I met Ben, and then I was speaking to him, he showed me like he liked my music from where he's come from, what he listens to. I thought, this is someone who we've grew up listening to the same stuff and around the same surroundings, and that it made sense. And then he like made me understand that he believed in it. He feel like you can do this, we can do that. So that's how I felt like everyone around me was cool. I felt happy. And before I actually signed with Ireland, after Stryderman was out and it got independently on Takeover, we got to a stage where I was on, say, one extra was playing it. It got to Radio 1's B-list independently, and then a few other labels wanted to speak, but anyone I spoke to felt like they was there for the minute. Right. Like, yeah, we like this song. Do you know what I mean? Not like we like you, we want to do this. Like, yeah, this song is cool, and I didn't see that. So as soon as I met Ireland, my mind was made up. Do you know what I mean? And we spoke, and we thought, yeah, man, I like everyone I spoke to so far. So that's how I believe to like have assembled the right team around you. You have to just, number one, you have to like the relationship between you and whoever's around you has to be cool. You have to be able to like feel free. Like if I ever showed Ben a tune, Dirty a tune, Target, Jack a tune, that I expect them to tell me the truth.
Is that important, having people that are just going to be truly honest about your music?
Yeah, definitely. And that's why sometimes it gets to a certain stage where people like, when you meet some other stars and people around them, it's like they never heard the word no before. Do you know what I mean? It's like everything's like, yes, I want this, yes, like is this cool, yes, like there's no, obviously like if like Ben told me, I don't know about this Tinchy, that's his opinion, doesn't mean it's right, but I take it in, do you know what I mean? And then how you feel, and that's one thing I've learned as well, man. For everyone who's doing music in a band, you have to go with your beliefs, what's in your heart, because if you're not liking it, you can't expect the next person to like it, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if like this person thinks that's the best, because if I don't believe it, and I'm not doing it with my heart, so yeah, that's what I've learned.
So Dirty Danger, as someone who obviously got Tinchy into music properly and was making beats and still make beats to this day, how important is the sonics for you in the music that you make? Do you spend hours and hours and hours mixing stuff down, or is it about a vibe?
You see, when it comes to mixing down and stuff, I'm not really like the guy for that. Like, I've got a partner, Rapid, who makes beats with me as well. I just prefer to just make the music. Like, that's what I concentrate on, just making the beats, just making something that's just so different to what anyone else is trying to make. So like, you just stand out. That's what it's about. It's all about standing out. So when I make my beats, I always want to stand out. That's what I'm fully about.
For any of those guys that are watching maybe the live stream, or anybody in here that makes beats on their computer, so sorry, band guys, sit this one out for a second. What piece of advice would you give to those guys in terms of getting their music out there?
You just have to use the internet. Internet is such a good thing to use, man, because before, as you said, like, we didn't have internet to use before. So we just said, like, if you put all your beats, all the stuff that you want to push out, if you get them on YouTube, get a Twitter, if you use all of that, then your music will get out there. There's loads of websites that you can put it on, and people get to hear your music. Do you know what I mean? That's a wicked way of getting your music out there. But
let's take it to you, Ben, because being an A&R, part of your responsibility is to kind of marry your artists that you're working with the right producers. Talk to me about the process that you go through to kind of put someone like Tinchy with someone like Fraser T. Smith.
Well, with Fraser, Tinchy'd met Fraser before the Island Records situation, so that came about off the back of, I think, the Kano tour, and he met Fraser from the back of the Kano tour. But like other producers that I've introduced Tinchy to that maybe he didn't know in the first instance, it's like you just got to live it. So I try to just be inside out. I know his music inside out, and try to know what Tinchy might like, or who might be able to push him and to bounce off, and who he might be able to bounce off in the studio. So, you know, I'm going to other people's studios and I'm hearing their beats, and, you know, I'm trying to make them understand Tinchy, and then I'm trying to sit with Tinchy and make him understand them. And, you know, sometimes it's like, it's just about trying things, and I can't always say to Tinchy, you know what, go in the studio, it's definitely 100% going to work. But hopefully, you know, the relationship that we have, there's trust, so he will think, you know what, I'm going to try it. I want to go there with an open mind, just try it. And sometimes it don't work, and sometimes it does work. But hopefully, you know, you get it right more times than you get it wrong, sort of thing. Like, you know, nobody can get it right 100% of the time. And as I said, sometimes you try sessions and there's just a difference in personalities, or a difference in musical taste. But, you know, I try to be that his ear a little bit, and try to just hear what might work for him, and also try to you know, realise the vision that we've had together. So.
Jack, as someone who now manages some very, very successful producers as well, how important is that role within the music industry, especially with the music that's being made right now?
Well, with our music, it's so important, like beyond important, the producer's role. Just, I guess without the great producers there wouldn't be the great artists out there that there is now, like Tinchy's Chipmunks, Tiny, whoever else. So it's very important. We've got Nathan and Darwood, who Darwood made Roll Deep's Good Times, and Nathan made Tinchy's Let It Rain. You've got people like Labyrinth, Fraser, Ben, next up. It's key. I don't know what more to say to it.
So if I were a producer and I'm thinking, you know what, I quite like that Good Times, I quite like that Pass Out, I can do better. Right. Yeah. How would they get your attention as a manager? Is it about they have to have a hit first? Or?
Nah, just send some stuff through, I guess. You can get in touch on Twitter, MySpace, emails, easy enough to find us on all Tinchy sites. Just send us some stuff, and if we... It was actually Wiley who put us onto both Darwood and Nathan. So if you can get in touch with Wiley, Wiley's the man to speak to.
A label needs to give Wiley a job, isn't it?
But then he might not turn up for work, you're going to have to deal with that.
An A&R who hasn't got a title. Because when you look at like a lot of artists, like different from, say, Chipmunk, do you know what I mean? There's so many different people that was skept to the whole boy band. I mean, everyone was doing what they was doing, but once he sees and like gives his blessing to it, it feels like, yes, it's allowed now. Yeah.
I don't think there's one person who hasn't had the Wiley
endorsement
touch.
Everyone's kind of either worked with him, been around him, he's influenced them or something.
Or
it's almost like he's
from
like,
just like, they've definitely listened to him and thought like, yes, this is, I want to do this,
You know, I was going to say on that producer tip as well, right, is that, and I'm just speaking from a major label perspective, and it, you know, you could think that it's cool or it's not cool, but this is the truth. Like with producers, like honestly, if an unknown producer sent me a beat and I thought it was hot, I swear I would ring them and I would make something happen, and I would try something, or I'd get a bunch of beats off them and play it to my artist and say, yo, I don't know this kid, but he just sent me this beat and it's crazy. But the difference between that and the artist thing, again, from a major label perspective, is that with artists, like majors like to have certain boxes ticked to say, yeah, this artist has done this. or this artist has done that. And it's not to say, oh, you have to say you've got a Radio 1 playlist on your own, or you've played at Glastonbury or anything like that, but there's just certain things because
what are these certain things? Okay, let's take it to the band level. I'm in a band. We're a really, really good band. In fact, we're better than the vaccines. Everyone's talking about the vaccines, but we're better than them. How do I get your attention?
You got a band like Mumford & Sons that Island signed last year, and without a deal, you know, they were packing out like venues in London. You know what I mean? Like you would go down there. There's hundreds of kids that they've kind of mobilised that are genuine fans of this music. You know, and all just using the power of the internet. You know, so labels are going down there, and I guarantee you. Well, I can't guarantee you, but I could say quite strongly that if Mumford had not played no gigs, or they hadn't done that themselves and kind of got that interest in the kids, that, you know, if a label had just gone to see them in a rehearsal studio, they might have said, yeah, you know what, the music is amazing. Are you going to play any gigs? And let us know when you're playing any gigs, and, you know, let's see if there's a following. Like, that's such a massive thing, you know, in a lot of the band world, that, you know, people are turning up to these gigs, and labels are just looking around thinking, what's going on? Like, it's already rolling. There's things already happening, you know. And with all of the artists really that I've signed, there's been something happening. Like Tinchy had something happening, Devlin had something happening. Obviously, Wiley's had stuff happening for years. You know, there's normally things going on, things that have been done. It's not like anybody ever just comes out of the studio and just rings a label and says, "Here's my demo," and then the label just says, "Yeah, it's great. Let's sign a deal." Like, that's just the reality of it. And I guess it's because you're investing quite a lot of money into people, so it's a risk, and you wanna make sure, you know, nothing is ever surefire, but you wanna know that
there's a fan base there.
Yeah, there's a fan base there, and there's some potential here, and it's something tangible that you can actually see that there's an opportunity for this artist to make it, you know.
Right, Target. Let's talk to you as a DJ, and I'm going to ask you the question that both you and I get asked probably the most ever.
Why don't you play my tunes, blood?
Why aren't you playing my tunes, blood? Now, how do I get music to you?
Well, there's a number of ways. I've got a SoundCloud for a start. If anyone's out there want to send me music, soundcloud.com/DJ Target. We have, like I said, the BBC Introducing uploader, which is a great device because you can upload your music straight to BBC. We've got a whole team of people who kind of work specifically on finding brand new tracks for me, and I present.
Everybody in here knows about the uploader, though, right? Come on, give me a bit of response.
Yeah, so yeah. But even saying from the BBC Introducing uploader, like we do a thing on my homegrown show on a Sunday night, which is all about kind of new UK music. People who upload their tracks to that uploader, we then pick one track every week, which is available for download. It's called Homegrown Download. It's free. And some of those artists who have been part of that have then gone on to feature on the One Extra playlist, sign deals, all sorts. Do you know what I mean? Like Emily Sandé is a perfect one, for example. She was on that podcast maybe 2 or 3 years ago. She's now signed to Virgin Records. She's worked with the likes of Wiley and lots of different artists. She's about to come out this year, so it's a great way of kind of, although it's very ground level, it can definitely spawn off into much bigger things.
If I give you a CD,
if I
come to one of your gigs and I give you a CD, are you going to listen to it?
Do you know what? I'm not going to sit here and say I've listened to every CD that I've ever been handed, because literally I'll DJ 3 or 4 times a week. We're out of Roll Deep, so we're literally everywhere, and I'm leaving clubs with my pockets, all my pockets just square with CDs, you know what I mean? So I try my best to get through as many as I can. Sometimes it takes me weeks to get through things. Even when I go into work, I'm sure you know the same. Like when they give us our post, it really is...
a sack.
It is Santa Claus, so there's a couple of them sitting at home that I need to go through, but I'm definitely one who's always looking for new music, new artists, undiscovered. You don't have to be a name. You know, you get some people who kind of, like you were saying to Ben, the people that have to have a name before you kind of take note. I've never been like that. It's always been about the music.
So what is it about that particular CD that makes you pick it out of that sack first?
Do you know what? If I'm honest, if you go out your way for some nice presentation, a bit of packaging, that always helps. But I will still open the one that looks like it's had no kind of effort put into it. I'll still listen to that, because I remember I was putting things on little rubbish tapes and I didn't do any packaging, you know what I mean? So I know that not everyone has got the resources to go and get a nice kind of graphically designed sleeve and pay money to have it properly produced at that stage. So I'm still listening to guys who are just giving me barely like a see-through wallet for the CD. So I try and just get through it all. without kind
For
of
you,
being
Tinchy, going back to your first mixtape, you got your mate JME to design the cover for you, to get it out there. Was presentation important for you at that point?
Yeah, it wasn't a way, because I guess like a few people had mixed CDs out before that, and then I was thinking like it needs to be something where your face is on there. I just want my face on there, because he was like, you sure I don't just want the name? I'm like, no, I want my face on there as well. And then it wasn't nothing like I wanted something that looked like so, like, I guess like we went out and done a big shoot, and I think I just got some pictures, sent it to him, went to his house, sat down, went for a few things, and then he had these like, I guess he's like sort of logo, the Boy Better Know logo, and I'm like, do you want me to use this? I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with that. As he used it, and I guess it's one of them things where after you've done all of that, the still problem is that, say with the DJs thing, at that stage I was thinking, how do you get your songs to them, and when you get it to them, did they even listen to think, should I play this or play that, do you know what I mean? And that's what's always been hard, I guess, at a certain stage, because say like, for example, Ben was saying, how with the bands, you got a gig and all of that before people come and hear you, but I've been asked before, like, how do you get to gig? How do you get to play there for them to come see you? And that's where it gets a bit, people don't understand.
How did you do it? How did you get booked for those gigs?
How did I get, I guess,
being underage and being in venues that you weren't even supposed to be in?
Yeah, with our route was different, Pirate Radio.
If you go on Pirate Radio, you used to get heard a lot.
Yeah, and then that was a talk, like, yes, and then when people put on their raising, like,
they want to book you.
That's the talk, you know what I mean?
Those pirate tapes, like, I remember, like, first couple of shows you've done with Slimzy and that.
Yeah.
We was doing shows in Manchester by this time. We was Pay As You Go, and Roll Deep was just starting. But those pirate radio show tapes were reaching Birmingham and Manchester and Leeds, and people were ringing me like, "Oh, who's this kid Tinchy?" Do you know what I mean? So the power of that kind of what was just a local community station at one stage was,
it was very big. Saying, like Dirty was saying earlier on, like that sort of changed now. Now it's more the internet. You know what I mean? There's more, say like there's Twitter, there's YouTube, there's different things. There's like people got blogs and so many different things where you have to see what your angle is and where you're coming from and tap into all of them. And some people might tell you no, like, say for example, SPTV, someone's been working real hard from when I used to first go about, it used to be about filming, and all his hard work is paying off now, he's doing a lot of things. And right now he might be so busy where he might not be able to do something, but I guess you don't stop, you keep getting to him, and then, you know what I mean, all them things people look, there's a few things like so many different online sites where people go and check daily. And so you have to work out what's right for you, because say you might be a band and then you might be trying to get on something else, people there ain't trying to hear that. So but then again, there's always the anomalies, like Ed Sheeran being a folk-based guitar singer-songwriter. You know what? He's on a grime website. He's a different. He's so like so unique. He's so different because he's like. He's a fan of that as well. Do you know what I mean? When I first met and spoke to him, he knows songs and lyrics of people. I think he's serious.
Everyone's lyrics.
Yeah, he knows everyone's lyrics. He's a fan. Guitar. You know what I mean? But he's good on that. So somehow I guess people naturally felt that and connected. And who he's worked with a lot of other people on Graham and other rappers and that. So I guess you got to know your lane and work it out. And that's a part where I guess I can only speak on my path. And when I was coming up, I knew this is what you had to try and do. The Pirate Radio was key. Getting on one extra was like, yes, you know what I mean? So once you try and tick all them boxes, you get a lot of no's, and you might give your tune to DJ, like, I'll play it today, you listen to the whole show, you don't hear it once. Don't hear it. I've done that before, you know sorry. And then like, yeah, I'll play it, yeah, definitely. And like, you never know why they didn't play, I don't know, because we used to think maybe there's rules as in like someone who's above the DJ and be like, nah, this one can't be played, and then, so you used to take, but people just think, no, but some people take it away and I'm gonna make more. Something where he's going to have to play, some people might feel, oh, they don't like me, and then give up. That's the difference. You have to drive. And if you got people negative around you, like, yeah, man, he don't play, don't worry about him. But people be like, nah, man, like, you're good, keep doing this. That's where it comes back to the team, man. So I think the one thing that is kind of the thread that carries everyone through, regardless of what length or kind of the lane that they're in, is it's just that drive and determination to try and take it as far as possible. Definitely. Okay, cool. Well, I think we need to open it out to the audience. I've got the feeling that there's going to be some questions probably directed towards these guys. If you've got a question for any of the guys on the panel, stick your hand up and we'll try and come to you to get a question. This gentleman here at the front.
When you're an A&R man, do you take lots of different styles of music, or do you just have one set style that you kind of...
Some A&R people, like, they will sign, like, a lot of different things in a lot of different genres. Like, I can't say that I personally do that. Like, I would say that everything I deal with is like urban and pop, because that's what I like. That's music that I can really understand and I get. But you know, there are some people that they'll sign anything that they think is going to be big, but I don't really believe in doing that personally.
Questions? Gentleman at the front in the puffer coat.
Oh, I think I'm out.
Or him. The one at the end, the shiny one, the shiny coat.
How important do you think it is to have like a full live band as opposed to just, I don't know, rocking with CDJs or Ableton Live or something like that?
That's a good question.
Is that to me?
That,
Oh yeah. Sorry, say the question again, please.
How important do you think it is to have like a full live band as opposed to, I don't know, using CDJs or Ableton Live and a few controllers, that kind of thing?
When I first started like performing and that, from where we come from was DJs on like turntables, and then obviously that moved to CDJs, and then on a mic that felt natural. You know what I mean? That I guess the whole live band felt like it was for like full, like say rock band. That's all we used to think. I guess we didn't think out, and then. But once you like get on in your career now, I think live band does bring something to it, you know what I mean? Everyone works differently, but if you got a live band that can really like play whatever music you're making, it definitely adds to the show. So yeah, that's a key part, man.
what about for you, Target, as a producer?
Agree. It kind of just brings a whole new dynamic to it. Like Tinchy was saying, we grew up doing things kind of electronically through just CDJs or whatever for so many years, and that was just normal. And the first time you kind of go into a live band thing, it feels a bit strange coming from the music we kind of make. But after doing it and performing at shows, you see the different dynamic, and it sort of just brings the music to life, if anything.
When you produce a song and you hear it come live, like someone's playing your music that you made in your bedroom, from like live band, like the guitars that you made and the buttons, it's crazy to hear that. It just takes it to another level. You know, it feels like you can interact with the crowd more. The crowd feel it more, especially when it's played live. Yeah,
switch things up.
Yeah, you can change. I think it's much better to play with a live band when you get to that stage.
What about for those people who aren't necessarily at that stage
way,
yet?
though. That's
Is it a good idea for a grime MC to maybe hook up with a local live band?
Yeah, because that's just coming different, and then people think, wow, how can you do that already at this stage? Do you know what I mean? I think that's a good thing. That if you could do that, then you should do it.
I think so. So if you're at like at a stage where you're still early, and then somehow you can hook up with, I guess, a live band who's on the same level and coming up and got the same hunger, and you can work, because live bands it's not cheap. Do you know what I mean? No. It's not cheap. So when you start working with them,
you're not cheap.
It's definitely not. So when you can, if you got some people around you, and you can work that, and they can adapt to you and you adapt to them, and they play your music. That's alone is different from everyone. Say right now, a lot of people might be doing the same thing, like say freestyles and get a beat and that, but if your shows are like already on that level, and then people, say for example, Ben as A&R come to a show and this is like a new act and then, or an artist, and then he's got a live band already and they sound sick already, you think, whoa, he's got visions, and you know what I mean? So that definitely adds to something.
It's even the presentation as well.
Yeah.
If you can have a live band from like the start, people are going to think, wow, imagine when he gets to that level, then what he's going to be doing then? Yeah. So I think it's a good way to present yourself if you can do it.
I want to see some people networking in this audience before the end of things. Gentleman at the back in the colourful jumper.
You hear a lot of horror stories about people signing to major labels, and everybody wants to sign to a major label, so this is more for Tinchy. At what point did you stop being in debt to the major label?
Stop being in debt?
Yeah. What was the tipping point when you were not in negative equity anymore?
I don't know, maybe Ben can help. Now, do you know what? When I remember my first album, Island, Catch 22, and then I got told not many artists actually ever recoup, and I think that album recouped.
Yeah, quick.
Yeah, recouped. So that was like whoa, do you know what I mean? Because labels spend a lot of money. Like people always wonder, like, say a video, like you might spend however much on say a single, you might do a video, what's like a rough, maybe
30 grand.
Like a 30 grand video, and then a single, to buy the single is what, 79p?
Yeah.
So like, they got to recoup that, and away from the advert, like the posters, TV, everything else. So recouping is hard, but that's why you have to have the understanding where labels understand how it runs, what they have to do to recoup and how much, you know what I mean? I guess forever when you're looking at it, it's like, if you're owing more, you're doing better in a way, somehow.
Yeah, and also I think like the horror story is for the record label, because it's not like if you take out some credit at DFS and then you don't pay them back, you're gonna get a bailiff at your door asking for the money. If I give him £100 and he only sells one copy for 79p, I'm not gonna go and ask him for the other £99 and whatever pence back. It's just my loss, and that's just it. So that's how it works.
And I think it goes back again to your team and the people you're around in the beginning to be looking out for you, to be getting into deals that are gonna be a horror story as for an artist, whether it be financially or creatively or whatever. So,
do you think it's important for you to do something independently before you do sign to a major, so you've got some sort of understanding of how much you spend has to come back somewhere?
Yeah, I think it definitely is, especially from how I've come through. We learned so much from coming up. Do you know what I mean? It's like before you know about major labels or whatever, you just understand where, all right, it's cool, there's a label, they've got this much money. People believe if you sign to a label, that means you're going to be big. Do you know what I mean? And it definitely doesn't work like that, as in you sign a deal, so, they're like, yeah, man, like, I need a deal. I'm like, why do you want the deal? Do you know what I mean? And some people don't know why they want the deal. That's where the problem is. And like,
let's be honest, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, then why should anybody else invest in you?
Yeah, and some people understand because they feel like they haven't got the money to invest in, they're making good music, they're not being heard, and the label's got that money, so if you believe and trust in my music, and I understand that, but if you can, it's best to like, go through it yourself if you can, so at least you understand the hard and the graft, and then once it gets to that stage of the labels, it's like on Target was saying, if you've got the right people advising you, you don't rush into deals and just sign a deal where just because you want a record deal. You know what I mean? You have to make sure it's right for you, man. Yeah.
We've got about 5 minutes left, so I think we need to take a couple more questions. The lady who's very, very excited to ask a question with the beaming smile.
Hiya, so you all talked about how you started out before the internet was really a big thing, but if you were starting out again now, would you give your music away for free, and why? Or does it devalue the music?
That's a really good question. Jack, I'd like you to go for that, being someone who has also got...
I would give some music away for free now, if we were starting out, and Tinchy still does. I think it's just great to get yourself out there. People appreciate it. You build up a fan base with... I just think if the music's good enough, people will buy it in the end anyway. So if you put some things out for free, they connect. Like even a lot of big singles are coming out for free first online, and I know the artists are giving it to certain blogs, American rappers and stuff in particular. I just think it builds up a good connection with the fans, and just sort of a respect, I guess, in a way.
I suppose it's a ripple effect as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and
because if you've got that one person who downloads that track for free, they're maybe going to send it to their friend or tell their friend about it, who's going to tell their friend about it, and maybe when you get to like 5 layers out, they want to know how to get the record, but maybe can't get it for free at that point. Maybe you've built your fan base by that point, and you're going to be able to sell the record. That probably is it.
Totally.
I think that you should give out music for free, but not so much, because you don't want to make it a habit, because people might be thinking, okay, I like your music, and then when you want to start selling it, they think, I just got loads of your music for free, but I want to start buying your music now. So you have to have a balance. Don't just always bring out, like, yeah, here's 17 tunes, all free. Do you know what I mean? Just tease them a bit, like, give them a few, and then when you're ready to release your album or something, then sell it.
Yeah, I think because at the same state, like it works for some people, but it can slightly devalue the music in a way, because say like Dirty was just saying, you might give it a few. I guess when you're starting, if you try and sell the music, I'll be like, well, why should I buy this? Do you know what I mean? So you got to give them some music where they get to like you, and then there's certain, so that people want more, and then so when you grow that fan and the fan base and the following, they're like, yeah, I like this music, and then you got to maintain it, man. Never too much is never enough, man. So when you're like, you got to watch it a way where after you do enough of that, and then plan it a way where when you start recording music, I guess people that believe and like your music, when you got music available to buy, if they like what they've been hearing for free, they will buy that if it's good music.
Very true, very true. And I suppose a recent success story will be Chasing Status. They gave away Hypest Hype for free, and now they're at, what is it, #3 in the UK charts?
Yeah, they're doing real well,
#2 with their album. Ridiculously big. I think we've got enough time for one more quick question. We've only got about 2 minutes left. A quick one. Gentleman at the front, just over here.
Oh yeah, I'm actually from Norwich myself, and my studio's right next to where you used to live in Chapelfield. And I just want to know, once you get that like buzz around the city, is it, if it's not seeming to kind of working out, is it worth it going to other cities like London, Newcastle, you know, just to like tour around? Like, what would that get you the kind of attention that you want, if you want like that kind of?
Anyone can probably take this question. Do you have to be big in your own city?
Yeah, do you have to be big in your own city? or can you venture out into other?
I think it's key to start from home. Do you know what I mean? You got to build a graph. I guess it's not a bad idea to reach out if you can and people like you, but always remember like the people that are closest around you, they understand you where you move on. So people are like, oh, who's that? And then they reach out, and then that's when you start reaching. Because when you go to other places, they might be like, well, we've got this already. Unless you've got something fresh and brand new, you know what I mean? You got to start from somewhere, definitely.
Also, it's like, you see, if you're coming from Norwich, I don't know what the scene's like in Norwich, but it might not be that big. But in London, it's massive.
Yeah.
So that's why it is good to take it somewhere else, because that's where it is at. Do you know what I mean? So if you feel like you need to come to London and do it, then that's the place where it's popping. That's where you have to come.
That, yeah, man.
Yeah, I think it's good that you go to other places, honestly, because like I think obviously Drake's from Toronto, but he went to Atlanta. That's where he started this whole thing off, because Toronto, he was only getting so far, you know. And you've got to remember, you're gonna have a lot of people, whether you're an artist or you want to break into the business side of the industry, you're gonna have a lot of people shut the door in your face. Seriously, so you got to keep being persistent.
But from humble acorns do oak trees grow. So from Bow, East London to Wembley Arena, I think it's only right that we take a look at this performance from BBC Radio 1 Extra Live to close off the session. Tinchy Stryder, ladies and gentlemen.
BBC Radio 1 Extra Live.
Wembley, will you make some noise and raise the roof for Tinchy Stryder?
No beat, no verse, but I'm hooked like that. How did you get through the doors on latch? All in my system, you flow through that. You shine, it glows, reflection. I struggle to cope when you're absent. I was dealing with hope that was back then. So I shuffle the quote, make it past tense. And you grab my soul like that. No beat, no verse, but I'm hooked like that. How did you get through the doors on latch? All in my system, you flow through, I'm latch. How did you grab my soul like that? I can work it out. I'm latch. How did you grab my soul like that? She's my favorite. How she got me. How she got me. Yes, yes. We said that. Hey, did you grab my soul like that? Did you grab my soul like that? Like that. We sound good. Shit. How did you grab my soul like that? No beat, no verse, but I'm hooked like that. How did you get through the doors on latch? All in my system, you flow through that. You shine, it glows, reflection. I struggle to cope when you're absent. I was dealing with hope that was back then. So I shuffle the quote, make it past yes. Then you grab my soul like that. No beat, no verse, but I'm hooked like that. How did you get through the doors on latch? All in my system, you flow through, I'm latch. How did you